All right, hello and welcome to Swing It and Ding It, an iHeartMedia podcast. It's a Moose and Maze throwback pod today, Harry.
How about that?
So, Harry, I now see my life in a different way. There was PV, and after PV, right?
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah, like when
It
you
was
when you
life-changing.
playing Pine Valley, and I don't want to sound like I'm bragging because I know it's not the easiest place to get on. There's a lot of people that have played it, but it might ruin golf. It might. Every other course is like a putt now. I really want to dive into the whole thing because it was an incredible experience. But what's going on in your world, Harry Mays? How are things?
Well, what I am doing does not compare to the week that you have had, Moose. So I'm not even going to get into it. It's too cold today for me to even really think a
I
lot
know,
about
right?
golf. It feels like we're in January and we should be getting ready for like a wild card playoff game or something instead of
Did you?
just Dallas week in early November, which is where we're at.
Yes, we are. Were you able to take advantage though last week when it was a little bit warmer?
Oh
Got
yeah.
to-
Oh, I
yeah.
got a bunch of times, and I don't know if we've spoken since. I had three of my buddies over at the last 1912 day of the season,
Oh,
which
nice.
they do these once a month. It's a really great way to bring guests in because they include lunch and dinner, and then there's prizing, for the best ball partners, and our group won the whole thing at 12 under par. We turned it on. We got out to such
Whoa.
a slow start and then went par net birdie, like boom, 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 closed with a fury and won the thing and won, some pretty nice pro shop credit. And I'll be putting that towards my Callaway 5 hybrid that I just heard arrived today. So I'll be picking that up later today.
I love it. How great
Yeah,
is that getting a win like that, though,
it
right?
is.
At a course you play all the time with the
It
people you play
is.
with all the time, like getting a victory like that, man, that's fun.
It was cool.
Who was
So.
on the squad?
My buddies from college, from Shippensburg days, which is pre-Temple, Jim Crompton, Jim Nearing, and Bob Wanamaker.
Awesome.
So, yeah,
Fun stuff.
good stuff.
Yeah, so there was a little bit of an off week, but we'll talk about the Worldwide Technology Championship. But I want to go back to the Pine Valley experience because you've been there, Har.
Yes.
I just want to kind of I want to paint the picture for you, right? So I get the invite from Alex Lon, who's been a guest on this podcast, part of the family who owns the Legacy Club where I play.
Right.
Apparently, our head greenskeeper, Patrick, is super tight with their head greenskeeper, and they kind of have a reciprocal where they help each other. So he was able to set us up. There were 8 guys from the club that went over.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it was an off day. They were closing the following day. They were closing Tuesday. We played on Monday. And in fact, the staff and caddies were playing after us. So originally we were supposed to go out at like 8 something. And they're like, we need you guys here at 7. We're like, oh, okay, we go there at 4. Does it matter?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Yeah. And so we meet at the Legacy Club. The one guy, Chappie, he's having some ATM issues because we had to have cash for the caddies because we did have caddies.
Okay.
The facilities weren't open, but we had caddies. He's having some ATM problems. So, we get there, we pull up. Now, I had never been there, right? So I'm like in awe. You go through over the railroad tracks, you go to the gate. The guy's like, who are you?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, no. You're like, I don't have anything.
That's
like,
where you enter another world. Oh, my God. You weren't on the list?
So he goes, hang on, let me call the super. Goes into the little hut, and we're in the car behind, and I'm like, all right, we're going back. We're playing the Legacy Club. And he's like, he didn't tell me, guys. I'm sorry. What time are you teeing off? We're like 7 o'clock. He's like, you guys have headlamps? He's like,
right, because
sun's not up
light
yet
until about 7:30.
So we parked the car. The head greenskeeper comes over. He's like, you guys are going out at first light.
Uh-huh.
How about that for a nice fun day? You guys are out at first light.
Right.
So, it literally we're walking up to the putting green in the first tee in darkness, and then the sun comes up. It turned out to be a beautiful day. We had really good caddies, a guy named Pete and a guy named Vince, who helped us out. And it was so 2 groups. So Alex Lon, and I had only met JJ and Phil, and obviously Alex. I didn't know the rest of the guys, Andrew, and then my group was myself, Jordan, Chappie, and Paul. So guys I'd never met before, and it's like, doesn't matter, right? You just go out there. But Harry, I want to get.
So you weren't able to go to the range first,
no,
right?
no.
Same with me.
Yeah.
My first time, I was not able to, to get warmed up because it was raining. And then they just said,
Oh,
"Hey, you're on the tee." And we
right.
had to go from where we ate, we ate breakfast right over to the first tee. And there's people waiting there. And I'm literally like, "Oh my God, I didn't warm up." I was freaking
It's
shaking.
a nerve-wracking first
Yes.
shot for
Were you
sure.
shaking?
Not shaking, but,
I
like, I
was.
was trying to distract myself and, like, it was still kinda dark, so, like,
Yeah.
and their group teed off first, so we got to watch them hit and had a little bit of time.
Uh-huh.
But, what struck me was, first of all, just the size of the place. It's
Oh,
massive. Like,
yeah.
every hole is like its own golf course. Like,
Yes.
And Brandon said it when he was on, and every hole there could be a signature hole anywhere else, and I agree with that. But
Mhm.
what I love is it's like rustic, right? It's not some
Mhm.
prim and proper, like, tee box markers are like very, it just is like, it just exists in like this most beautiful land that is like a stone's throw from Clementon Park in
Right.
Pine Hill, New Jersey, which is insane.
You feel
Uh,
like you're in North Carolina or something,
I
you know?
couldn't put my finger on where like it felt like you
Like
were.
near Pinehurst or something is the way
Yeah,
it kinda made me feel.
yeah. It just was. I mean, I'm glad the pro shop was closed because that would have hurt,
Yeah.
right?
You'd have
Yeah,
dropped at least a dime in there.
easy,
Yeah.
easy, easy. But what were your thoughts of actually like playing the course, like the playability of it?
Well, the first hole's that dogleg right,
Hmm.
and, like, once I, just bucked up and hit a tee shot and you hit just off the fairway on the right at the corner, I was able to get it to the green and ended up making a 5. So I walked off there with a
Nice.
bogey, and I'm like I started to calm down, and then you take that walk down that little
It's not
hill, and
an
you
easy walk, by the way.
no, no, it's
It's
not, and
not
then
an
you
easy
turn
walk.
to your left and you look at the second hole, and you're like you see all of that sand, and you're
Like
like, "Oh my
stacked
god," and the
bunkers.
green's all the way up there, and you're
Yeah.
like, "Wow," like, it just blows you away, and then, like, you took a picture, I believe, on the par 3, the
Yeah.
5th hole, which is another one that just your jaw drops when you get on that tee because you're like,
Yeah.
it's a little the water's really not in play, but the green, it's like a 230 some yard drive, probably. I think is what it measured, if I remember correctly. It's the one where Gene Littler, who had won the US Open in 1961, played Shell's Wonderful World of Golf in 1962 against Byron Nelson at
Whew.
Pine Valley. I think it's the only time Pine Valley had ever been like on camera, like
Right.
for the people to see it. And he put up a 7 on that hole. This guy won the US Open, was one of the best ball strikers, won the US Amateur a couple of years prior to that, and hit it into the abyss on the right, tried to get it out, ended up making a 7. I mean, that hole is unbelievably diabolical.
Oh God.
The green is incredible.
Yeah. Is it 10? Is the long par three? Like the hardest par three I've played. I believe it's 10, where the cottages are on the right.
Well, that's the
Um,
one. 10 is the par 3 with the devil's a-hole bunker, I
yes.
believe,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, I parred that actually.
You
That's
stayed
a
out of
great
the you
green.
stayed out of the a-hole.
I was not in a bunker, thank God.
Good. I was in the bunker to the left of it where it was double my height.
Okay.
It took me 2 times to get
Yeah.
out of that bunker that time.
And then you got Hell's Half Acre on the big par 5,
But it's cool because I
which
forget
is
what hole it
7.
is where you can, like, you don't realize how up and down you are, like, walking, and you look down and 18's coming back, and you're as high as the trees on
Yeah.
18 looking down at it. It
Yeah.
was crazy.
Well, yeah, 9 green, which is a fantastic hole. It's unbelievable visual on 9, and then you look down, you get to 10T, and you look down, and that's where you see 18T
Yes.
coming
Yep.
back the other way. Yeah, I saw other groups down. I'm like, "Oh, there's guys down there." And then how about the par 5 that goes up the hill? It seems like it's never ending. I think it's 15, where you hit it over the water, and then it's just straight up. It's 3.5 shots for a guy like me to get it to that green.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, from a challenge perspective. Now, keep in mind, like, you're in awe, right? The first
Yeah.
time you play it, like, you can't even pay attention. But, like, I was fortunate enough to play Bethpage Black this year, which was so hard,
Mhm.
and there were a lot of similarities just in the difficult level of having to be precise. Where if you miss it in a bad spot
Yep.
on one of those greens, you're in trouble, right?
Right.
You are in trouble. But I love like the different sizes of the greens.
They're big
That
greens too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That downhill par three, which is like, the signature hole, and then it goes into that long par 5 back
Yeah.
across the water
14 and
where the
15.
bridge is.
Yeah.
That area was like, I took a little panoramic video because it just was So cool.
And then
So cool.
16 comes back down the other way.
Correct.
Yeah, that's a really cool spot on the
Yeah.
property. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's where you look like how am I in South Jersey? When
I
you're
know.
there and looking around, you're like,
Yeah, how many miles are we from Philadelphia again? Like you don't realize where you are. You could be, you're in another land. It's literally takes you to another land.
It does. It does. It's like Neverland. It's one of those places where, much like that page, where it's like you're looking at the putt and you're like, all right, I think it's a little bit downhill, goes left to right, and the caddy's like, hey, it's uphill, right to left. You're like, huh?
What?
What do you?
Get it over here.
I mean, I'm going with what you say, but I don't see it that way. It's like it's wild. It's funny.
That's
The next day, my wife and I were walking our daughter to school. We drop her off. We're walking home. My wife's like, "Oh my god, look how beautiful these trees look." I said, "You know what? Please,
What?
This looks like crap. You were in a Pine Valley yesterday.
Exactly.
Like, you don't know what beautiful is. Okay,
Right.
just keep walking." Right.
So
she wasn't too thrilled with me, but
yeah, it's a magical place.
Yeah, really is. But it's good. I mean, some of the guys I play with obviously can play the game a little bit better than I can. So it was awesome seeing some of those guys hit the shots they did. I have my normal bipolar round up and down, couple really good drives, couple shanks, but just tremendous. Just tremendous.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Can't wait to one day get back. But that's a big one off the old bucket list there. Big one.
Tell me about it. Well, you had a bunch off the bucket list this year.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to start to list them because I'm starting to have some memory issues. So I gotta write them down. But Harry, what's going on with this TGL? I can't get a handle on it. Word comes out today that John Rahm is out.
Yeah, he's not going to participate. Apparently, I guess it's going to be too much time away from the family, is the way I took it.
And listen, he didn't want to participate in full swing. Like he wants to play golf and try to win majors and hang with his family. And you gotta give him credit for that. But like, are you like excited for this?
I don't know whether I am or not.
I
still don't know what it's
like. I want to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be something in February. When football season's over, it's early in the week when nothing else is really going on, unless you got a good college basketball or an NBA game or a Flyers game or whatever. But there's nothing really going on. I figured it would kind of tide me over until we got to Thursday, Friday with whatever golf tournament they're playing in the California swing or the Florida swing, but. I don't know what it's going to be. Rory, I guess he's in it with the Boston team, from what I just
Terrell
saw.
Hatton,
yeah,
they call
and
him
Morikawa,
LA. I mean, listen, like, geez, like the logos and the names are awesome when compared to how crappy lives are. Let's face it. I mean, I know it's different because you're actually like having cities that you represent.
Yeah,
JT on the Atlanta squad. I don't know how any of that works. So they go into these places. Is it all from the same place? We're gonna have to. I actually reached out to their PR department to try to get somebody on just to talk about it. So hopefully we'll get some clarity on it. But it seems to be a lot of questions.
And still. I guess ESPN's handling the broadcast, right? Yeah, because I don't know who's going to be doing it, but
SVP maybe. Hopefully.
Well, hopefully that would be a good choice.
Yes,
I mean that would be excellent. And I got to rip Colin Morikawa. I don't know if he was just trying to be sarcastic, a little bit funny.
I hope so, Harry.
My goodness, he goes all Taylor Gooch on us. So you're getting the invite call like it meant as much to him as going to the Ryder Cup.
It had to be like it had to be tongue in cheek, right? But no one took it that way. Nobody. Like, please stop comparing the Ryder Cup to stuff. There's a no-win situation, especially a simulator league. Like, come on. I am hoping, and he's kind of dry. I am hoping that he comes out and says that he was kidding because it was. I love Club Pro guys. Did you see his post?
No, I missed it.
Go on and check him out. He did basically the FaceTime call. With Colin saying he's joining the Second Hole Foundation squad.
Yes.
And it like the timing of it's perfect. Like it's like he's FaceTiming him. It's awesome. It's so good. He really is. He really is. But we have some golf to gamble on. To watch.
Put out a couple of picks last night on the Twitter feed @it_ding. And when I'm checking here, most of my guys are out to a really good start.
There you go.
Maybe we're actually hot this year. This fall segment has been pretty good.
It really
as far as the picks go.
You know, it's
Yeah, but
crazy. Like, and I didn't jump on it, but talking about some of the guys I like, I can't believe because Sahith Theegala is 29th in the world, behind Cam Young and then Ludwig Olberg are the top guys. Sahith is at 5,500, like a crazy. He's below names that I don't know. Harry, do you know Matty Schmid?
Matthew, no, not really.
Right,
I mean,
like
I've
he's
seen his name, but I don't know who he is.
yeah, exactly. It's very strange to me. So I don't know, maybe DraftKings knows something that we don't. But 4 of the 5 last winners here had a top 15 in one of their last 2 starts, and each of the last 5 winners played in at least one fall event. So didn't have much time off. But
Cam Young's had a lot of time off. He's been off for about 10, 11 weeks.
Yeah,
and the fact that he put this on the calendar tells me that he knows he's ready to go. And he's eyeing this as his way to get the win because it's really wide fairways and you can bomb it. You got to hit it here. He's one of the longer hitters out there, and that's why he came in at plus 1,100 is what I got him at on DraftKings.
Wow.
I didn't like the number, but I'm like, I think that this is the week.
If you took him now, as we're recording this, he's through 16, 7 under, T1, 500 plus 500.
Right.
So you got him at a good,
Right.
Yeah. So, well, you know what? I guess that's why that Sahith. I'm not looking at. I'm looking at live lines.
Yeah,
right. So he must not have started out too hot, but still, I mean that might not be a bad idea to take a look. But
yeah, and this is the first Tiger Woods design that is being used by the PGA Tour for an event.
Well, let's talk about the course, of course, with Harry Mays. Tell us about this little place. You ever been to Cabo San Lucas?
I have not. I would love to. One of my buddies that came over to the 9C12 Club, Jim Crompton, used to have a timeshare out there. I don't know if he still does, but he says it's fantastic, and it's obviously in the west coast of Mexico. El Cardenal at Diamante is the golf course and the resort, and it's a Tiger Woods design back in 2014. One of his first ones, I believe, 7,363 yards, par 72. The rating on this course, 75.9 and a slope of 140. Now that's Champions tees. Obviously, you do the resort tees. You're not going to have that kind of difficulty, but really wide fairways and huge greens. They average 8,300 square feet each, which is gigantic. And it's past palm grass, which is common in that part of the world. The big element to this course, you're going to get to know the word arroyo is going to be part of your vernacular, Moose, after watching this. An arroyo is a dry creek bed and a steep-sided gully, and they're all over the place. It's the topography, the land looks really cool. It's like rustic. Kind of like you were saying with Pine Valley, a lot of sand, but you get to see an ocean. This is sort of like a more rustic Pine Valley type place with an ocean. It looks pretty cool. And begins and ends. There's 4 par 5s, begins and ends on a scoreable par 5. The third hole is a drivable par 4. That's the low point on the property. A lot of up and down to this place. A lot of holes,
some undulation, if you will.
A lot of undulation, a lot of slope in the fairways. You hit the speed slot on some of these fairways, you're going to get a whole lot more out of your drive.
Got to stay in the slot.
You got to put it in the slot.
Just like our buddy Andrew Factor. You just stay. You got to get in the slot and stay there. No doubt about it.
Yes, sir. But the tough, there's a tough hole out there. Noticed a couple of guys put up triples on the par 4 12th already today. So that's a hole to watch out for. As is the 8th, which is a 474-yard uphill par 4, plays into the wind, an extreme climb also on the par 5 14th hole, which measures 554 yards, plays a lot longer. Those are 2 holes I'm really looking forward to seeing how these pros navigate this stuff. So a new spot.
I love it. Can't wait to watch a little bit of it. Our guy Bo Hostler is T3 right now. That was another guy I liked pre-tournament.
Yeah.
I could see. And Eric Van Rooyen, who went really quiet this last season, right? Like the year before he was rolling.
He needs a good
right
week.
Now. He really does. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, interesting to see. I love these kind of off-field events personally because I love seeing some of the young guys, take a run and maybe get their first win.
Yeah.
So yeah, very curious to see how this one plays out. And then we have some really nice tournaments coming up in some beautiful places, right?
Yeah.
Bermuda and Sea Island, and it'll be fun to talk about for sure.
Yeah, there's only two more weeks left in the FedEx Fall Series, as they're calling it, and then we get the silly season, and then pretty soon they'll be in Hawaii.
Yeah, and then TGL.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Maybe I guess.
Well, Harry, we want to
What?
send best wishes to our boy Brandon Matthews, who, when we were last on, was on with us, getting ready to prepare for his surgery. Seems like everything went well for him this week, and he's resting and recovering. And there was some damage in there, and it's been repaired. So
Yeah,
quick recovery, we hope, and can't wait to see him back out on the course.
absolutely. That that was a procedure that had to happen.
Oh yeah,
Just
oh
had
yeah.
to happen. So take the time, over the off season, which is pretty much. I know he would have wanted to play in these events, finishing up the fall, but it's a good time to get something like that done and get back out there as soon as you possibly can.
Harry, when you guys played, that was before they punched greens, I guess, because this is punch green
Yeah,
season.
our greens will be punched Monday and Tuesday, so we're gonna have the cross country tournament that the superintendents make par threes. They make 12 holes of par threes where you're hitting off from, the tee box on one over to the
Right,
eighth green
right.
or whatever. It's really
Yeah.
cool. That's Saturday morning. Then Sunday we got a big match with like 9 groups. I think we got 36 guys
Weather looks
teeing
nice
off in the
Sunday.
morning. Sunday should be good, and then
Yeah.
it's shutdown time for the greens.
Okay. Yeah, I think
So,
up until Tuesday, it looks like 65. Then it tails off a little bit into the 50s. But
yeah.
they punched ours a week ago, or maybe a week and a half
Okay.
ago. So at the Legacy Club,
Yeah.
so they
And
should
then
be healing by
they
now.
they
But
punched Green Valleys too,
yes,
and they looked like they were on their way to healing already. And Lulus were punched, I believe, early in last week.
yeah,
So
I played last Friday with a friend, John Landman, who's manager for the band Snack Time, among other things, and they had punched the greens. The course was closed Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We played Friday, so we were literally one of the first groups out, and
mm,
it was fine. I mean, it's a little bit of plinko on the
yeah,
greens, right? And
yeah,
you have to just accept it. But
sand,
I mean, the
yeah,
rest of the course is so beautiful. It was so nice out that it didn't bother too much at all. But yeah, hopefully we'll get to. I would love to get out a couple more times. Before you start seeing those 40s consistently, because
oh
then
yeah. But and the other day it was like, I think it was like early 40, might have been yesterday, low 40s and 25-mile-an-hour wind gusts.
that's
I'm like,
yeah,
I'm
the
out,
wind. Yeah, the
I'm
wind
out.
is yeah. What's your cutoff? Because for me, it's like maybe 48, 49, 50, but there has to be under like 6 mile an hour winds.
Hmm. I'm like those old Tampa Bay Buccaneers back in the early 2000s where I can't play under 42 degrees. Like they never
Okay.
won a game below
Yeah.
42. I'm
Yeah.
like 42. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a fun game in the
I
cold.
need a
I'm
4.
actually yeah. I need a high 4 and low wind, right?
Yeah. My wife will play in the 30s. She's insane.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
taking a look at Casa de Campo, trying to get back in early 2020, like January maybe.
Nice.
Yeah, I know a couple people that are actually heading there soon, and I just saw the foreplay guys were there, so I saw some really cool pictures from them. But yeah, I mean that's when the weather starts getting cold, that's what you start thinking about, no doubt
That's
about
right.
it. Beautiful. Well,
Yeah,
Harry, this
I'll
was
be
a
going
quick
down to visit
episode,
my
but a good
mom.
one. Oh, you are. So
I'll
you
go down to
good.
visit my mom sometime in Florida, and I got to check out the new Cabot Citrus, which is
Oh
the old
yeah.
World Woods. And they've been redoing that for the last 9 months. I can't wait to see it.
How long do we wait for Chris Hansen to get settled before we hit him up and go go play where he is?
Well, I've been texting with him actually, and he's on the facility every day working. Texting me back photos of all the stuff that they have and their little workstations.
Okay.
So he's settling in, but I'm going to give him a couple more weeks.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, listen, good stuff, Harry. Hopefully Danielle will be back with us next week. Obviously, she's carrying a lot right now with Brandon on the men's. Again, best wishes to our guy Brandon to get well soon after his surgery and get back out there and start kicking some butt on tour for sure. And
Absolutely.
we'll be back next week. We'll recap the Worldwide Technology Championship and take a look at what's upcoming. Thanks, Harry.